Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach and energy coach Linda Armstrong. Today is Friday the 13th, 2020, 4 p.m. New York time. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And I'm once again happy that the week is over. It was a challenging week. It was a good week in many ways, but it was a challenging week. I had some good breakthroughs, which for my programming world is a good thing because, Linda, you know, over the last 3 or 4 months, I was struggle, put the struggle away, come on, relax, all that kind of thing. I actually had breakthroughs. I had stuff I could celebrate. It was excellent. I loved it.
Cool.
So, yeah, progress is being made. That's a good thing. Yeah. All kinds of stuff going on. Of course, there's people getting upset about what's going on in the world of health, but on the other hand, we here on the show are trying to do what we can to kind of counterbalance that, see if we can focus on things that help us feel good about things. And toward that end, I'll point to a popular show. I mean, with the coronavirus, there's a lot of self-quarantining going on and so forth. The Jimmy Kimmel show. I guess Kimmel has apparently self-quarantined himself. So they had the ex-Democratic candidate Pete Buttigieg come on to be the substitute host that day. And I guess his special guest was Patrick Stewart, who, of course, used to star on the Star Trek series because Pete Buttigieg is a big Star Trek fan. So they had, in this empty auditorium, it's like, just the staff who are there applauding and so forth, and the camera's running. They did a show with him interviewing like his favorite character on TV of all time. And they had a ball. They had a blast. So there's an excellent example of, despite what's going on, finding a way to just feel good, not worry, just change that mindset around because boy, oh boy, is that so important.
Right. Because the media just wants to put you right into fear because that's what sells for them. Like, I really cannot stand like news because, I mean, I don't know, I guess good stuff doesn't sell. But I mean, I think that if I would love to see like some kind of station or something out there that will always show the bright side or the positive side or what's potential or what the possibilities are on the upside rather than all the doom and gloom. Because I mean, this virus, from everything I've seen, like even United Healthcare sent an email out saying, basically, unless you're elderly or already having some kind of a sickness going on, even if you get it, you just take care of yourself like a normal flu and you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't sound like all of this hype. I mean, I went to the food store before because I needed kitty litter. The line was so long.
I know.
It's ridiculous, Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, but I really need this kitty litter. So I guess I'm going to have to stay here,
Oh, it was crazy. Louise and I did the same thing, not kitty litter, but we did pick up some milk and stuff like that and got there. And there were some registers that had 10, 15, 20 carts in line trying to check out through the same register line. We're thinking, oh my God. And what was really interesting about it is everybody was quiet. Everybody had these dour looks on their faces. And then you looked in their carts and they had like 6 months worth of Kleenex boxes and things like that. It's like, way over the top. And we're thinking, we're whispering to ourselves, boy, these people are really, really, they're in quiet panic mode. And it's not like running in the streets. Oh my God, the world's ending. It's a quiet panic.
No, my experience was a little bit different. Like everybody was like, this seems like a whole bunch of nonsense going on, but
good for them. Good for them.
That's what most of the conversation was, at least whoever I spoke to regarding it,
Yeah.
And how blown out of proportion. But some people get really caught into the fear because that's how it works.
Yes.
And especially if you're not aware of maybe the things we talk about here, it's easy to go into the fear because it's just blasted at you.
Oh yeah.
So you can't blame them. You just want to try and find ways to uplift people that are falling into the fear of it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to uplift yourself too. I mean, it's the principle. You have to get yourself into a good place before you can help somebody else to get into a good place.
Yeah. And you know what? And a lot of businesses are going to suffer for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. But on the other hand, we're going to come through this okay. I mean, despite the fact that a whole bunch of people, interesting thing, I saw a survey, an online survey, but like 130,000 people had responded to it. So it probably has some degree of accuracy to it. They asked a question, how are you feeling? Are you responding to this whole coronavirus thing? They gave 3 possible answers. 1 was very concerned. 2 was somewhat concerned. 3 was not at all concerned. And I have to give credit to the 20% who had answered not at all concerned. That's 20% of the population who were basically just not buying into the hype. And that's a fabulous thing. That's really, really good. Now, what was missing from there was any kind of answer that said, I'm feeling panicky. So I kind of have to presume that the very concerned was where the panicky were. So it was 41%. So that's a fairly high number. That's a substantial size piece of the population that's feeling, at least low grade panicky. So that's why I'm really glad that, you mentioned it wouldn't be great if we had like a television network or something like that did put out stuff all the time about what's going right. That's one of our goals here. That's one of the reasons why I started this show. So, and I'm hoping that we get to the point where we are that big. We have that kind of reach so we can put out that kind of good stuff every day.
Yeah, that would be really awesome.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
It would be. Yeah, because I'm getting emails from the Chamber of Commerce because we have a karate school and it happens to be in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And like in New Jersey, Bergen County, all the schools are closed. I don't know about around by you if you even pay attention. Since I deal with kids because we have a karate school.
Sure.
And some people are not coming to class because whatever, the parents are in fear. So yeah, it's a little odd.
Yeah, it is odd. It's very odd. You mentioned local area. I posted something in a group that I set up many years ago, just for what is known as the Farmington Valley, which is the area we live in northern Connecticut, and posted something that basically said, calm down. This isn't as big of a deal as you might think it is. And the pushback I got was, oh my God, you're so irresponsible, blah, 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 blah. The world is ending. Stay tuned, film at 11. And, I said, okay, all right, well, this is interesting, and tried to calmly respond to people and so forth. And since then, I've started putting out anything I could find, which included medical professionals and personnel saying, this is not a big deal. Don't panic. Nothing going on. In fact, I found one that was right nearby, the University of Connecticut Medical Center, which is right near where we live, had a spokesman who came out and said, look, there's no need to panic. What we're seeing so far is very low grade, except for, the few people who are medically at risk. And that's what usually happens when there's a flu. Mm-hmm. So her basic message was, don't panic, not a big deal. So I'm trying to find stuff like that to put out there to say, look, people, this is okay. We're going to get through this. All right. And I'm starting to get some better responses out of it. But boy, that first pushback, it confirmed for me just how scared people are getting. And so I'm glad that, I really am glad that we're focused on trying to find ways to reverse that, to do the pivot like we talk about here.
Because fear is very powerful. And who wants to live their life from fear? I mean, nothing good comes from that. Nothing good comes from that.
No. Worry is probably the most useless emotion of all of them. I mean, they're all indicators, so they have some use, but worry, I've always thought about what good does that one do other than to say, stop worrying. I don't know.
And then for how long? There's no real information out there. It's like, okay, keep the kids home from school for how long? They don't know. Nobody knows anything. It's just kind of like...
Well, actually, I did find one article it was by CNN, and they had interviewed a woman from Seattle, I think, who had coronavirus and got over it. And so they interviewed her, and her first thing, she says, the first thing I want to tell everybody is, don't panic. It's not as bad as you think it is.
Right.
So we know about how long that we've been hearing about it. And according to some reports, it's actually been in the country 3 weeks longer than that. So there's the gestation period. She had it, I think she said, for a few days, and it was done, so not a big deal. Nobody really wants to get sick, but clearly not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, right?
Well, what I'm thinking is, let's do what we normally do on Friday, but let's do it kind of with the idea of we're going to be putting out there positive vibes. We've done this kind of thing before. We've done it with meditations. Sometimes we've done it with the card readings, but basically putting out there, we're going to put out energy to everybody within reach of our vibration, which is a lot of people when you take all of our listeners into account, and just put out there, everything's okay. We're going to get through this just fine. It's going to turn out to be people getting healthier, people getting happier. We're going to get past this really quickly. All these kind of very positive, upbeat, and low key, and certainly nothing having to do with panic messages. Messages to kind of reverse the whole thing.
While I was out today, especially in the store when I'm on the line, I just was like sending love to everybody. Like I just was sending healing and doing that kind of stuff because that has an effect. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's why
time to do it.
That's how you can counter the fear, is by just putting out more, love and healing energy.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I figured that's my job right now.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
doing.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
those of us who understand this is a great opportunity for us to kind of demonstrate to ourselves privately. I mean, it's not like we're going around and announcing to the world, "Hey, we're going to go save the world." Or no, it's not. That's not what it's about. But practicing what we believe in and showing
Right.
ourselves and those who are paying attention, hey, this stuff really works. It does. It pays
Yeah.
off to do this.
I mean, I have seen some people. 'Cause I'm not on Facebook that often anymore, but I did see some people, putting up meditations or doing like a Facebook Live meditation,
Hmm.
and things like that to try to put that energy out there.
Yeah.
I saw lots of homeopathic people and chiropractors that are putting out a message, like not to worry. This is just another virus and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
What you can do. So hopefully that helps calm some people.
I think it does. I think the more that people put out the message, both vocally and just vibrationally, the more it gets out there. I mean, we've already talked in the past about how if somebody's in a really, really bad place, it's going to be hard for them to receive it. But to whatever degree anyone is in a place that they can receive some of it, that's going to get through. And that's the good news. The good news is they're going to be receptive to some level. I mean, I mentioned that I had posted something in our local group, our local Facebook group, and one woman came back to me with some sort of snarky reply about how, well, I hope you get what you're looking for out of this while the rest of us suffer. I mean, it was kind of the gist of what she was saying. And my reply was, well, that's a start. You just work on that a little bit.
Right.
Don't buy into the angst of it, but yeah, that's a start. Start where you are and then take one step at a time. It's not like you have to get to the end of the race all in one stride, but take some steps.
But then I guess again, like when it all does blow over and those people that went into severe panic mode can now see it was for nothing. If this is in fact what plays out, then maybe that's a lesson to be learned. Like, I don't need to buy into the fear because I did it and really nothing happened. And I just consumed myself with that energy and felt miserable for all this time.
Exactly.
And everything's okay.
And I think some people will get that. I mean, some may not, but I think there will be some who get some impact like that. They're going to realize there are going to be some people who realize, yeah, I may have gone a little bit over on that. Maybe I just overreacted a little bit, and I have all of those dry goods in the closet. What am I going to do with them now?
My husband's a little bit of a survivalist. He did grow up during like a war. He grew up in Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So he's always been very much into not survivalist, like the world's coming to an end, but he likes to be prepared.
Sure.
So we already have like stockpiles of food and things like that, in case anything were ever, and maybe that gives you confidence too. So maybe it's good to have that because you're like, well, if anything did happen, electricity went out for so long, like at least I've got this food I can eat, right? Non-perishable.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're sure if that helps, then it helps.
Are you a Walking Dead fan? I'm a big.
I'm
Walking
not.
Dead
No,
fan.
I know you are. Yeah, but no, I've never really gotten into that one.
Because they're years into it now, and sometimes you got to ask, well, how are they getting this? Like there aren't any more cars to siphon the gas out of, and whatever. It's pretty fun, but
yeah. Probably not the best show to recommend in the middle of a crisis, but nevertheless, sounds like it's entertaining.
Well, you know what? That show really, it's all about compassion, right? People coming together, making their way through hard times.
Oh, okay. Well, that is a theme. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's actually a really good show. I mean, the zombies, that's like secondary.
It's secondary.
It's more about the people. Actually, it's like not even secondary. They're like just in the background because it's more about surviving with other people who are surviving, and what they become and how they become during this. And so anyway,
it's kind of like, oh, and by the way, they're zombies. It sounds like it's an afterthought almost.
Yeah, they're the least of the problem.
Yeah, isn't that always the case though, right?
Yeah.
The things that we think are the zombies are actually minimal compared to how we build it up. The vibration that we get louder and louder, like, oh my God, this terrible stuff is happening. Help, help, help.
Yeah. Well,
actually, we're getting a lot of commentary in the live stream. I'll share just a couple of them. But Josephine says, the good news is that a lot of people who are getting it are recovering. Let's focus on that and the actions being taken to resolve the issue and be thankful for that. So there's a really healthy response right there.
Yeah. Yep.
And we've got, let's see, who else is commenting here? Jeffrey said, yes, the response from the healthcare providers is top notch. Community response leadership too, which is true. Most of what I've seen has been pretty good. I was actually digging through some stuff locally just to see what was going on. Some of it could have been a little bit better, but some of it was really good. Some of the responses were just, chill out, people. It's okay. Everything's working out. We're able to take care of this, In fact, one of the things that post that I shared, I also shared on my own timeline. I think you saw that one. My wife's sister-in-law is a registered nurse in Rhode Island, and she responded something to the effect of, yes, panic is definitely not a good idea here. And by the way, we have loads of experience treating flu symptoms. This is not something that's outside of our norm. That's an interesting thing to remember. Because so often people treat this as if this is like a brand new disease from Mars, and it's really not all that different.
Yeah, and I saw something, I can't remember where it was, and I don't think I saved it, but it was mentioning how many people actually get the flu and even die from the flu, and the number's humongous.
Oh yeah, it's hundreds of thousands.
As compared to this coronavirus.
Yeah. And not that this one can't spiral up to those numbers. It could. That's possible. Anything's possible here, but so much of this is actually, I think it's actually creating a lot of it. I think they're creating more than they realize they're creating. So one of the things I've been trying to do too, is I interact with people, is whenever I can find somebody who's trying to find some way to say something positive, I'll take what they're saying and see if I can push it a little bit more into a positive vein. Because so often what people express as positive, they express as negating what they don't like, right? So, somebody, for instance, said to me, well, let's pray that that people stop getting sick. And I turned that around to, okay, well, let's pray that people actually get healthier. And she said, oh, I like that. So taking the opportunity to feed to people who don't necessarily know what we know, some of the basic concepts, without having to teach them about law of attraction, but just, just basic concepts of how attraction works, and people respond to it. It sounds good to them. It feels good to them, which we know that makes sense because it feels good.
Yeah. Well, I pulled a card.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see if any of this ties in. But what I got was,
oh, geez. I mean, come on. When was the last time we had a card that didn't tie in? Let's be perfectly honest.
The Temple Path in reverse.
Okay.
It's about spiritual purpose and support. So this card is talking about receiving this card is a sign that you may have fallen off your path. You could be too focused on worldly possessions or material gain, or you may simply be maintaining old unhealthy habits of fear, limitation, worry, and doubt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whatever's distracting you, receiving this card reverse is a firm message that it's time to make your spiritual life and evolution a much higher priority. Not doing so represents an important loss of power. So clear your mind, meditate, and open up to the presence of spirit. So, I mean, we can easily take that to be looking at what is possible. How can things turn around in a higher space? I mean, we are.
Yeah.
Let me go further here.
Okay.
Whatever else may be going on, consider this an important part of your personal and tactical plans. The support and inspiration of all eternity and countless loving spirits are available to you now. You can take that message right there and really call on that energy to help those who are actually becoming infected with this.
Right.
And, why can't we just ask these angels to kind of squash this thing out?
It's a good point.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says not turning to them is like cursing the dark when you refuse to turn on the lights. So it's really, and that's the thing too. You have to go within, because that fear feels so heavy. It's not your natural way of being, because naturally you are light. So
as usual, the card hits it right on the nose, because it's a card that identifies the fear that's going on. I mean, named fear as what was the driving factor, and that's clearly what's going on here. And it raised an interesting point, which we hadn't really touched on, but which you just elucidated on very nicely, which is we don't have to be just on our own here. We can ask for help. There's lots of help available on the non-physical side. Great point. Yeah. Great point. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll go off on a tangent. Maybe this is a time when something like this goes on, where we have those people from other places come in and help out in a more known way, the ETs and all of that.
Meaning that we're more aware of it. Is that what you mean by known?
Meaning that this type of thing is a perfect opportunity to have some benevolent beings from somewhere else
Oh, I see.
make themselves known presently with
I got
technologies
it.
we may not have yet as
No,
to how
that's
to,
possible. Sure.
yeah, why not? Anything's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Yeah.
I suspect that. Well, that I won't rule that one out. I mean, not at all. But
No.
I
Hey, look,
suspect that most of it's going to come in terms of what we get as messages, because
yeah.
that's one of the things you've been teaching me since the first show you did with me like almost 2 years ago. How important it is to listen inside and get that intuitive sense, because you get good messages that way.
I think I told you that, Rita Giganti, who's going to be on our show on the 27th, I think it is.
Yeah, we should talk about that too. Yeah.
She was here and she picked up on this portal that I have, right? I mean, it sounds really out there, but I've seen this thing. I've seen this glowing light come from there. People might say, you're just crazy. And maybe I am. I don't know. But I've seen it, right?
Hey, Linda,
and
you are kind of crazy, so it's okay.
As crazy as these cards coming up and talking to us, always hitting the point whenever we're talking about something, right? How does that happen? There's no coincidences. So, that's what made me think too. I'm like, hey, look, this portal is becoming more active on my land. There's information that wants to come through that in some way. And I'm tuning in and picking up on some of it. I don't know the whole story. And I've been building my labyrinth and digging out all of the edges of it, the guidelines. It's a lot of work. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm making it kind of biggish. So, but in working with that, I'm telling you, there's something happening to my energy this past few days. And I have like this kind of headache for a couple of days, which I never get headaches, but I only get stuff like that when I have something shifting. What that is, I have no clue, but I'll just allow it to be for my highest good, or it wouldn't be happening. So why did we go off on that? Oh yeah, so I'm like, well, that's pretty crazy. You got this glowing green light that's got this portal on your land.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so maybe there's some influence where we're going to learn something about how to combat these things. That is technology coming from somewhere else.
And apparently it's not all that crazy, because you said you had at least one or two people who have some degree of sensitivity coming there and telling you before you'd even said anything, by the way, you got this big portal going on here.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. When Rita brought it up again, I'm like, ooh, okay. So she's tapped into the portal. I guess it's real.
Yeah.
Again, I'm getting this confirmation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to pick from another deck here. I haven't used this deck that often. It's the Psychic Tarot.
By the way, Jeffrey made a request. He wants you may already be doing this, but he wants you to draw some angel cards, whatever that means.
I did pull out one angel deck.
That was one. Okay.
So, but from this one, we got the throat chakra.
Okay. It's a throat chakra.
I know this message is going to be short, but let me just go and see. Whoops. Crown, throat. All right. So, the throat chakra, those who don't know, it's all about expression, right? Being your truth, expressing your truth in whatever way, shape, or form that is, whether it's, through the work that you do, through artistic things, through speech, through anything, any way of communication. Yeah. And so anyways, it's associated with the throat. So it just says this chakra is, of course, located in the throat area. Communication, sound, creativity, and the ability of clairaudience, inner hearing. Let's listen to those messages, or a spirit that wants to let us know that you are protected and all is well, even in the midst of all the chaos, right?
Right.
Many artists, speakers, writers, singers, and individuals involved in the creative arts will often have an active throat chakra. To balance and stimulate this energy center, try humming, chanting, or singing out loud. It's a great tonic. Most important, if you have something to say, please speak up. When this area is fully activated, don't be surprised if you suddenly become creatively inspired.
Okay.
So maybe we can tap into our own creativity. Like, it just popped in my head. Maybe Spirit gave it to me. What about the kids, Like, hopefully the parents that are getting freaked out are not freaking out the kids.
That's an interesting point. I mentioned the pushback I was getting, and Jeffrey pointed out that he was getting some pushback with some of his contacts too online. Um, One woman came to me, and it was somebody I'd never heard of before, but she was part of this group from the area where we live, and she said, "I understand what you're saying, but we got to be careful because there are some people we got to make sure they get the message that there's this virus that's out there, and we all have to take precautions and so forth." And I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about it by now. I don't think this is a secret anymore." She said, "Yeah, but I mean, some of the kids, they think they're superhuman, that this isn't going to affect them." And I mean, my first reaction was to laugh, but I didn't laugh to her, because I didn't want to offend her or anything. Because the reports that we're getting is that the kids aren't being affected by this disease.
Right. Right.
So, are you paying attention to what the news reports are telling you?
Well, and let's think about that too, because the kids are still more connected to their truth and to this outside energy of support that's out there,
Yeah.
That's why the kids don't go into fear unless their parents put them there, or whatever they pick up from their teachers, or they happen to be watching the news or something like that, right?
Which was kind of what I was picking up from her. She was kind of distraught that they weren't picking that fear up from her. Like, I've got to pass this fear along to my kids, or I'm not doing my job as a parent.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, she thinks she's doing right by them. But so do we all.
Sure. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure I've done things that messed up my son, right? took on some of my own program. But fortunately, I'm switched on, and so is my son. And so if I notice something, I'm like, do you think I gave you that?
Now that's unusual. You don't hear that too often.
Do you have any memories of me ever, pushing one of my things on you? And he's like, no, not really. I don't think so. Well,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Well, I mean, the most important thing there is that means he doesn't feel like there's any tape going on that he's picked up from you. And that's really the best part of all.
Yeah. But there's got to be some stuff,
Probably. But still, that's a pretty good track record.
But he's ahead of the game. This kid. It's not a kid anymore. He's 28. Okay. Let's see. Oh, angel card, blessing in disguise.
There we go. Blessing in disguise. Okay.
All right.
What does the text say under that too? Because it's got some full text under that card.
I'll read it from the book because.
It's the same text. Oh, okay.
That's white and it's small. It's white and it's small.
Well, we'll try to avoid the small type, even with the glasses.
Especially when it's white on the soft green. Can't see that really good. Okay, let's find blessing in disguise. All right. So what it had said on the card there is, what appears to be a problem is actually part of your answered prayer. You'll understand the reasons behind your present situation as everything resolves. Trust in heaven's protection and infinite wisdom to answer your prayers in the best way.
That's a good one. That's a good one, because what that's basically saying is keep it general and let source energy and the universe, or however you want to style it, God, take care of what needs to be taken care of. Don't put limits on it. Right.
So then it goes on to say, the angels sent you this card to help you recognize the blessings in the midst of an apparent challenge. So, I mean, that could be also, because whenever stuff like this comes, what's the opposite of fear? So it can bring up people pooling together, communities helping each other, helping that elderly person next door. The love comes up to the surface, right?
Right.
I mean, like right after 9/11, everybody was joined together in harmony. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Before everything changed again, but it was there
for a moment.
Even like the tsunami and all that, it brings that energy of compassion and love up to the surface. So what you've appeared to have lost needed to fall away and will be replaced with something better. Have no fear for your future, but continue praying and following the guidance that comes to you through repetitive feelings, thoughts, visions, and words. Maybe a good side of this is that people, because you said you saw people who weren't really going into the fear. I saw people not going really into the fear on the lines I was on.
Yeah.
And with other people I did come in contact with today, although I know a few through the karate school that concerned parents that were calling. But what if it is to get through this and realize, you know what? I could have done all of that without panic.
Yes.
Right. And wouldn't I have been much better off if I just, went about my day knowing that everything works out? Because look, everything worked out.
Well, I'm on record saying that I think 2020 is the year of clarity for so many people. And I think you're right. I think this is another example of where that's going to happen for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to come out of this noticing stuff about themselves they didn't notice before. And that's good. I mean, Abraham teaches us, right? Abraham Hicks teaches us that the contrast exists so that we can identify what it is that we don't want. And
Right.
that's happening in a big way right now.
Right.
The thing that often sticks people is failing to identify what they do want after they've identified what they don't want. But I think we're going to get more people coming out of this realizing how important it is to identify what it is they do want. So to me, that's a huge step forward.
Yeah, because actually, true, because it helps you prioritize things and you realize, God, I'm putting so much effort and attention on this one area that really, if everything were going to end tomorrow, why did I put so much attention on that thing when I could have been doing more of this, right? That would really, build my heart, and feed that energy.
Right.
Instead of that constantly go, 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 go. Look at an example. Some of the parents who are so busy with their work that their kids don't really get to have that kind of interaction with their parents because the parents are always too busy to do it.
True.
And a lot of them, I see a lot of this, a lot of the nannies are picking up that part of the parental role for the kids. And I don't mean to knock that in any way, but if you find yourself then, God, I'm devoting so much to this and I'm missing out on that. Well, let's find a way to make that balance a little bit better. You don't give this up, but you find a way to make it flow with more harmony. So that would be a great outcome.
By the way, kind of along the same line of what you're saying there, one of the pluses of what's going on right now is that because people are self-quarantining, basically they're staying home so that they don't risk helping to spread the infections around and so forth. And because the various group activities are being shut down and they're going online instead, that means more and more people are going online to do their interacting and to get whatever they're trying to get support, get help, get feeling better, whatever, which ultimately helps shows like this and people like you who coach online like this. This is actually good for us in that sense, because more and more people can feel free to engage with us without any kind of risk of contagion. I mean, that's the nice thing about electronics. There's no contagion other than like a computer virus, and they don't really hurt.
That's true, but it is nice to have that human interaction as well.
Oh, definitely. I'm not saying that we don't want to have that. I'm just saying there's a benefit there.
Yeah. So it has some additional meanings for that same card. It says one door closes, another one opens. The how is up to God with respect to how the best way to answer the prayers and release the need to control and predict the outcomes of this situation and just trust.
Yes. That's something that I'm working on today, actually, because one of the things that happens with me is I have a definite empathic side, and I tend to pick up what other people are feeling if they're feeling very strong emotion. And over the last 24 to 48 hours, I've been really, really feeling the emotions of people around me, particularly those who are in a panicky mode, which is one of the reasons I started posting about, guys, stop panicking. I need to calm down here. And, obviously I have to go inside and I have to do that work. And that's really where the best stuff's going to happen. But it's a reminder to me, I need to take advantage of a situation like this for my own development. Like I said, I have that empathic side, but I also have to make sure that when people are not feeling good, I don't let it affect me. I don't let it, get inside and start messing me up. So it's a time for me to practice coming within and meditating and slowing myself down and being calm and focusing on what I prefer, and, doing all the things that we know to do as conscious creators. So I'm treating it as an opportunity for me to grow.
Yeah. And so, a great thing for empathic people to do is just to, pull in that light, create this big bubble of light around you. And I like to put like chainmail on the outside of my bubble, right? Chainmail, that metal woven fabric. So fabric, it's metal, that only the love passes through, right? So you can be and express and help and do all you do without taking it on. Another thing you can do is instead of the chainmail, which I like that because I like it, but you can have like a silver lining, so it reflects away anything that is not love. So you're not taking that on. And then when you find your energy just did get depleted, or you out of nowhere, you're just feeling not yourself, you can just ask, who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? And the more you, I find that if I say that over and over again, everything just feels lighter. And it's like, okay, I will give that back. We'll give that back to wherever it came from with consciousness, add consciousness to it, you know?
You've said that before, and I've always agreed with it. It always sounded good, but I'm not sure I've really given it a good chance. I'm going to give that a chance for a while.
Play with it. You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people who are really empathic that come to me, even just that bubble thing with the chainmail.
What do you do in order, I mean, is there specifically something you think about or focus on in order to get that idea of a bubble around you?
I just pull in the light. So you can do it however you want to do it. But I like to just, imagine that you're just pulling in this light into the crown chakra. I like to have it come in to, like, as if there's this tube up and down my spine, right? It's just filling with that light. But the light is so much that it starts to emanate out past and into every cell, and then out past my body into my aura. And you just build this beautiful bubble above your head, below your head, all around in every direction. And then put the protection on it. Call an Archangel Michael, have him walk with you. You're like, okay, listen, Michael, we're going to be talking to some people, have some really heavy stuff going on. I don't want to take it on. You just have to set your intention, really, because we are energy. We are creators. We can call the shots.
That's true.
And we can pull in help if we don't believe we can do it ourselves.
Yep.
Pull in angel help, or.
Yep. Sure. As you were describing that process you use, I remember trying one other time, and even as you were talking right now, I was trying to do it, and I wasn't really getting a good bubble. But what you talked about bringing the light in through, coming in through your head and then spreading out and so forth. I tried doing that while you were describing it. That made a difference. So it's, I mean, that's why I'm glad I asked. It's good to have a particular method that helps to bring the feeling in, because that feeling, I think it's probably more important than anything else when you're trying to create something.
Or just allow yourself to feel your energy expand, like just again, with your imagination, feel your energy sitting here in the chair. Feel your energy kind of like growing and filling up the whole room that you're in. Okay, you could feel that, right? So let's feel it. Let's feel that energy expanding out into the whole entire block. And you just kind of feel your way into it, into the whole county, into the whole earth, whatever you want to make it be. But you'll feel bigger than just sitting on this chair.
Yeah, that's true.
So light is love. Light is what's healing, the healing energy. So yeah.
And as you were saying that, that's literally what I was feeling. I could feel all that and go. You're a very good leader at this kind of thing, by the way.
Just feel the energy expand. Well, we can all do it. We just don't know it. Or you're like, yeah, that sounds too easy or too simple.
I don't care. I like it being easy and simple. I mean, just people can criticize if they want to, but to me, I just want to make sure I can get it to feel good, to work right. If I get it working right, I'm okay with it at that point.
Well, and if it feel like it didn't work the first time, try it again another time, because it works. It's just you have to feel. Some people don't remember in the beginning you weren't sure how to feel energy or what energy was, like when we first started talking to each other.
Right.
Only because you didn't hear it or the words didn't match in a certain way for you to be able to
I didn't have an association.
To realize that what you were feeling was actually that. Right. And especially if you're sensitive to energy and you don't know it, it's normal. So it's just a normal thing you walk around with. So how do you describe that? Because it's like everybody's like that. You're like, no.
Yeah.
There's a feeling sense. And so it's just a matter of knowing what that feels like to you, or how to tap into the sensation that allows you to know that and can feel energy, and to allow you to expand your own energy.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so take care of your needs, Winter. This is the Angels and Ancestors deck.
While you're getting that reading, I'll quote something that Jeffrey said. He says, "I've lived through public health outbreaks in Africa. We're going to get through this. It's not malaria. I survived that too." It's a good point. It's a really good point.
All right, I gotta find this deck. I don't remember. I haven't used it much to know where to find stuff easy, so I'll be there. Oh, here we go. Seasons. We pulled Winter. And Winter says, take care of your needs.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not a coincidence either that you pulled that card in winter here in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, and that is all about taking care of your needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, because I mean, really, right now, all we need to do is take care of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to not become victim of or allow the virus to come in.
Right.
So maybe the bubble of light is your protection for the virus. Anyway, the message is do everything you need to do to be your best, then move beyond your fears and your limitations. So it says, for many in the animal realm, winter is a time of hibernation and retreat. You may wish to curl up in a ball too, but although you may not feel as bright as you'd like to be, a primal force within is encouraging you to continue. The winter card features a wolf, one of the few animals that can stay active all year round. Wolves know what it's like to walk alone and thrive within a pack. So if you feel the need to go it alone at this time, know that wolf medicine will help you move beyond your insecurities and relax into your own space. So the extended message of this card is you have an opportunity to move beyond your fears. Although you may feel in the dark, get comfortable with being in the unknown and trust that the light within will sustain you through whatever may seem a challenging process. So a couple of cards now, we're talking about allowing spirit to come in and having the faith, right?
Yes. Right.
You are protected. We're talking about putting a bubble of light around you. So anyway, it says, ask yourself what you need to do to feel supported and alive. You may uncover something from your past that you've buried deep. Know that when you unearth it and shed light on it, you can create space for more miracles. So maybe that could be too what we were talking about as well with maybe at the end of all this, those who maybe became controlled by the fear, and then there was really no reason for all the fear. You know, maybe that's something that they can bring, is being brought up to be released so that doesn't have to keep repeating every time there's something going on.
It's a great point because fear by definition is false evidence appearing real. That's what the acronym stands for. And it's almost always something that isn't actually there that we're building up in our minds. So when you look at it that way, and then from the perspective you just described, it all of a sudden it's like it just kind of becomes obvious. Oh my God, that wasn't really out there. I was making that. That was something that I was generating, and I'm the only one who can let go of it. I'm the one who can stop it.
Well, or you just let it come in, like say with what's going on now. That's why it's good to maybe do the process of who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? Because there's so much fear in the collective right now because, you know, the media is talking about it and everybody's showing pictures of all the empty aisles in the stores and all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, plus, I mean, with that phrase, it's a good phrase, but I think it's fairly evident, like 99 times out of 100, it's coming from that crowd of people who are in low degree panic mode. You know,
right.
Okay, so now I've identified that. What do I do with that information now? If I'm trying to do this, where is this coming from?
But so you don't have to know. You don't have to know where it's coming from. You can just be like, well, who does this belong to? Who does it belong to? And really, the more you say it, you'll actually feel lighter. Okay, I know if I wake up in the morning kind of heavy, I'm like, God, I know I just woke up. Nothing even happened yet today. What's going on? Right. So it's like, who does this belong to? Who does this belong? And it gets lighter. And it's like, oh, okay, good. I'm back to myself.
Just from repeating it. It's the repetition that
just from repeating it. Okay. Or and I'll even do the other access consciousness process, which is interesting point of view. This feeling, whatever this is and whatever's attached to it, it's an interesting point of view. I have that point of view because it's affected me. It's an interesting point of view. You say that a bunch of times over and the energy lifts.
Okay.
It just does. Play with that. You'll find it for yourself.
I'll try that.
So it says, ask yourself what you need to do to feel supported and alive. You may uncover something from your past that you have buried deep within. Know that when you unearth it and shed light on it, you create space for miracles. Okay, I already read that. You may feel like a lone wolf right now, but this is a time for you to be the alpha. When the winter card arrives whatever, we didn't pull it in any position in a spread, but if it's in the future position of a spread, or as the last card in a reading, it can also indicate that the coming winter will usher an important energy with regard to your questions. So I don't think that part applies to us right now.
Probably not. No,
Yeah.
but I think it is noteworthy that at least here in the northeastern part of the U.S., and I suspect probably in many places around the country, we're getting what is often euphemistically referred to as an early spring. I mean, for instance, Louise is my gardening business. We're starting that a couple weeks early. We're actually starting up in mid-March. We usually don't start until after April 1st. So in a sense, we're almost kind of on the cusp of spring, even though it's not officially spring, but we're kind of, we're leaving the winter space and moving into the spring space. And it's just happening a little bit early.
So, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, me too. That means it's going to be nice. Lots of good nature walks, things like that.
I'm really happy about that.
By the way, Jeffrey also gave us some more information. He says, my work in Africa and all that, the good I did is coming to the surface. So is my strength and confidence and my ability to stay calm and emotionally supportive in tough times, which is an excellent point, because when we deal with these, it can be a struggle. Life can sometimes be a struggle, but those struggles almost always, actually probably always, make us stronger, don't they? They make it make it easier for us to deal with things. We just feel more confident because we came through them.
Yeah. They may not feel that great when you're going through it, but always you can look at anything in your past and you're like, I made it through that. And wow, so much changed because of it. You're grateful for it after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, one of the things we like to do a lot here on the show is just get through stuff with humor. Humor is a fabulous way to kind of release stuff. Joel Elston, our friend Joel, who used to do the Thursday show with me, posted a really great meme about this whole coronavirus thing. He says, in his local Walmart, they have turned on register 3 in order to accommodate all the panic purchasing. That kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Like, oh, yeah, so I'm going crazy here to make Walmart richer. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, well. Okay, so let's pick one from the Enchanted Map.
Okay.
So we'll
that sounds good to me.
Yeah, where's this leading us to? What are we doing?
By the way, I like the necklace with that little mandala or whatever you got there. That's nice.
It says, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't.
It's the Access Consciousness mantra.
Okay.
And I found on Etsy a woman who was making them. So
no, it suits you. It suits you. It's really nice looking for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got upside down, stuck in the mud. Stuck in the mud in the reverse. There's an elephant.
Stuck in the mud in reverse. Okay, now that's going to be interesting to hear what that reads out to.
In the mud in reverse.
Okay.
Number 24. Let's see what we get with that. Oh, I opened up to 23. Almost 24. Okay, so you're being invited to stop and savor the wonder of your life in reverse. When this card is reversed, it reminds you that you're stuck due to your obstinate desire to get what you want, when and how you want it. Perhaps it's uncomfortable to admit that the course of action you've chosen for yourself isn't right for you now. Even so, you have a choice. You can struggle in the mud and get nowhere, or take a moment to observe where you are, then step out, wash away the dirt, dry off, and find other things to do. A much better adventure awaits you. You'll know when it's time to embark upon it. So maybe we don't want to be stuck in the, fear and the worry and thinking, because we're going to pass through this in some way, shape, or form, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not like this ongoing traveling show comes to an end because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
This is going to keep going for quite some time. Yeah. No doubt
yes, and we will. We'll pick ourselves up and we'll keep going. And, maybe, there's always got to be some reason for things that occur, right? So.
By the way, this is it isn't necessarily terribly positive, but it does give a different perspective. I read there was one doctor who commented that about 1 in 10 of all colds people have ever had are variants of coronavirus. So we've all had some form of coronavirus. We just didn't know it.
Ah.
Well, we survived those.
That's interesting. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What time is it?
Oh, we got about 10, 11 minutes left, something like that.
Okay. Do we want to pick another card or what?
I'm seeing if there's anything. Nobody's really asking questions. A lot of people are making suggestions. Josephine's pointing out what a great healing method Ho'oponopono is.
Oponopono. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeffrey was making a reference to remembering Neville when dealing with people who are pushing back, but no real questions there. So yeah, I guess I'd say go for another card. I'm not
So
really seeing instructions.
let's do a trust your vibes.
Oh, Josephine, did I read this one? Josephine made a comment earlier on that was kind of interesting. She says, I think the coronavirus is a manifestation of all the fear of financial lack, given the constant reminder of the economic inequality discussed on the news prior to the outbreak. No, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not saying that's true or not. I just think it's interesting she drew that connection.
Yeah, given what did she say? Because I don't listen to the news. What were they talking about?
I don't know specifically what she's referring to. I know that the stock market's been kind of in a decline, and that's continued with the coronavirus. It's down like about 25% over the last month, 2 months, something like that. But she says the coronavirus is a manifestation of all the fear of financial lack, given the constant reminder of economic inequality discussed on the news prior to the outbreak. I'm not sure specifically what that is, but
you know what? Anything is possible, right?
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
And the other thing too is it's going to be different for everybody. You know,
true.
It doesn't mean that only one message comes from the whole thing. People are going to get what they get from it.
It's an interesting thing. We get what we need most, isn't it? I mean, when a message comes through and we recognize what that message is, it's 999,000 times out of 100,000 or whatever it is, you know, it's what we need. It's the one that we need to hear the most. It comes through.
Yeah,
I think it's because that's the one that's been, that sort of the other side has been pounding the most to get through to us.
And it's going to be interpreted by your own reality. So, you know, there could be many different things that come from it based on the reality of those people who were involved, who were in that collective group of thinking of whatever that was. It could be that financial thing. It could be self-love. It could be like anything. Taking care of yourself. How many people don't take care of themselves? And maybe now this is something that says, hey, listen, things could happen. You need to take care of yourself.
Maybe people do get a message out of that, and maybe they actually pay attention to it and decide to make a change.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what life's all about anyway, is making changes based on what we put out and what comes back to us, and evaluating, saying, okay, do I like that? Do I not like that? If I don't like that, what change should I make?
Right. So now 2 cards fell out of the deck. One was
we know what
clear
happens
the path.
When you get 2 of them, we know what that means. It means we're getting both of them.
We're getting both. We have to, because they came out. Instant feedback. So let's do I think instant feedback is what I saw first. So we'll do that one.
Okay.
Number 9, because I know we look at the other one, clear the past. I'm like, okay. All right. So it says, it's time to expand your 6th sensory toolkit and learn to use kinesiology or muscle testing as a means to get an instant vibe check on the matters at hand. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
I do a lot of muscle testing.
That's right. We haven't done that lately, but I remember there was one segment of shows about a year and a half ago where it's like every show we were doing some variant on muscle testing.
We were testing beliefs and things. Okay, so muscle testing offers quick and reliable feedback when you can't access or don't trust your normal intuitive channels. I mean, I'll do that even like, okay, which one of these crystals is going home with me today? Because I'm only getting one. and I'll test each one, you know? Okay, so the simplest way to muscle test is to find a partner who is willing to work with you. Next, place your right hand on your belly, raise your left arm out to the side. Oh, they're doing muscle testing in the way. A lot of chiropractors do it that way too, right? Where you hold it out and they push and see if you're strong or you're weak. Okay, so she's saying, place your right hand on your belly, raise your left arm to the side. Think about your question, making certain that it can be answered with a simple yes or no. Very important. It's got to be a yes or a no.
Right.
With your question in mind, ask your partner to push gently down on the extended arm using the pressure of no more than 2 fingers. If the answer is yes, your arm will resist the pressure and remain strong and unmoved. If the answer is no, your arm will lose energy and power and drop to your side. It's that simple. Remember, the key is to ask yes or no questions. Try it right now and see for yourself. And I'll give you some other ways too, right? So you can do that if you have someone with you to muscle test.
Right.
But you can also muscle test by making like 2 rings, one inside the other. So this one I'm going to hold tight. This one I'm going to pull through it.
So finger
you hold tight. Hold tight and you can say yes, yes, yes. All right. So yes is strong,
Mm-hmm.
and no, no, no. And it goes through. Yes, no. So my name is Linda. It's tight.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Mary. It's weak. And I'm holding the same. So,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to ask it yes and no questions. And you do that to test your yes and your no. So you'll
Yeah,
ask it,
you're trying to gauge it, right? You're trying to get a feel like, okay,
yeah,
what
I
does
want
it
to make
need
sure
to
I
be?
know my yes and I know
Right.
my no.
Yeah.
So I'll ask it questions I know the answer to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask my body to pick up on it. So I'm holding tight. I live in New York. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I live in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
No, like I
Not
feel like
even
I can't even
close.
hold it. Right. So you play with it that way. Another way is make that same ring,
Mm-hmm.
but this time use these two fingers as a pry bar. So you put
Trying to pull them apart.
fingers
Okay.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you hold tight. Yes. No. Yes. No. So it looks simple right now, but if you do it for yourself, you'll feel that it's strong. And then, okay, my name is Elizabeth, and it's weak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my name's Linda, and it's tight.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask it yes or no question. Then you ask it the question you really want to ask it.
Right. Right.
You know, is moving to Arizona for my highest good? Is now the time to move to Arizona? Yeah, whatever it is, whatever's going on for you that you're working on, ask questions that you can get a yes or no. And the fail safe, for me, the fail safe is you stand up and you put your arms to your side, you close your eyes and just breathe and relax. And you can say, yes, yes, yes. And you'll find yes, yes, yes. It's not going to happen now because of the way I'm sitting. And you would lean, you would probably go forward. No, no, no. And you probably feel yourself go back. My name is Linda. I'll probably go forward. I live in New York. I'd go forward. I live in Hawaii. I'll go backward, right? So you find your yes and your no. You ask it questions you know the answers to. Then when you have a solid yes and a no, like I'm always getting a yes, I'm always getting a no for no questions, then you can ask it the questions you don't know the answers to. And see, so the body one, as long as you're quiet and relaxed and standing still, arms to the side, you'll just move forward or back. But I have to say, I have had clients, because I'll do muscle testing even virtually like this, and I've had a few people who went sideways, one way for yes, one way for no. It wasn't usually it's forward for yes, backward for no, but sometimes it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the pendulum, sometimes my energy, my directions change. When I hold my pendulum, show me yes, and it does whatever, show me no, and it does whatever. They sometimes change.
I guess you could do it with almost anything that you can get a yes or no answer. I mean, you could probably flip a coin and decide that heads means yes and tails means no. I would imagine you could do something like that and develop
maybe,
some
yeah.
sort of
So,
system.
but you ask it a bunch of questions, see if it does the same thing all the time.
Right.
But I mean, the old timers used to do that with like a necklace and a charm. Is she having a boy? And they would test the whether it's a boy or a girl.
Right.
Baby in the womb, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's do clear the past.
Okay.
So that was about muscle testing. Find your own feedback. So is this virus really going to impact my life negatively? And see if you get a yes or no. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
sure.
You can ask questions like that. Number 36 is what we're looking for. This is clear the past. And we have to flow in spontaneity and synchronicity. Your guides advise you to forgive those that have hurt you and free your attention and energy from the past. It restores your vitality and awareness of higher vibrations. Nothing positive comes from holding on to the wounds of the past. They're just preventing you from experiencing the blessings and guidance of today. Now that's interesting, because there's a girl named Bridget Nielsen, and she has a YouTube channel, and she's a psychic, and she's had her own experience with ETs, and she does a lot of teaching of spirituality things and healing modalities and all. Right. And she was talking about how this is just re-stimulating ancestral wounds. If you go to Bridget Nielsen, I think her channel is just called her name, Bridget Nielsen. She's done a video on it. I didn't see it. I didn't look at it today, but I saw an email about it. And
what does that mean, ancestral wombs? What's that conveying?
So when there's been pandemics before, that energy still may exist in a lot of people's DNA, because their
I see.
ancestors lived through it.
Gotcha.
So it's like it's bringing up to the surface old wounds.
Oh, wounds. Okay.
Wounds,
Yes. Now I got it.
WOUNDS.
Yes.
You know,
Okay.
fears and things that have, so some of the energy that you're feeling could be actually stuff that you have within your energy field that comes from your ancestral line.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that kind of a thing.
Got it.
That's what she was talking about today. And she's not I've heard one or two other people also bring in that element of this energetically with what's going on with this pandemic kind of a thing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see.
What was the other one? We got one last card here.
I'm finishing this one. So let me go back to it. It says it restores your vitality and awareness of higher vibe. Nothing positive comes from holding on to the wounds of the past. This is why I was bringing this up.
I got you.
They're just preventing you from experiencing the blessings and guidance of today. Notice what resentments and old angers are burdening your heart. One by one, abolish these psychic chains by forgiving those involved, including yourself. Acknowledge the gifts each past injury has offered you. This will allow you to forgive more quickly. And if you're stuck or not in the mood to forgive, fake it. I mean, forgiveness is a huge healer. When people can let go of and forgive things that have gone on and actually not lead their life from judgment based on stuff that has gone on before, it just frees up so much energy to be more of who you actually really are. It's just energy, and it's just very dense, heavy energy. So and this is probably really is bringing up a lot of ancestral fears from those who have lived through something like this that people weren't ready for at the time. You know?
Sure.
Okay. So it says even even pretending to forgive sets the wheels of healing and higher vibration in motion. This doesn't mean that you condone anything unjust or feel it was okay for anyone to injure you. It simply means that you're ready to move past these mistakes and see the higher and more loving vibrations. Yeah, you just want to move out of the judgment of all of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't reach what your heart seeks as long as you remain physically attached to your past wounds. If you seek justice, ask your angels to render it and let it go. You will immediately experience a lightening of your heart, a deeper connection to your higher self and your guides. In this lighter state, your guides can direct you far more easily to what will bring you peace and calm. Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
So again, it's calling on your guides and your angels to help you through what's going on. Realize that some of that fear, again, fear doesn't really belong to us. It's stuff that we picked up along the way, because our true nature is that of light and love and joy and excitement, like the little 2-year-old, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thought to end on too, because this has been a good little flight, so to speak, that we've had here, because we start off with, again, the same topic we actually talked about yesterday. Alex and I talked about some strategies for dealing with the anxiety and so forth. And today we kind of turned it toward, okay, so where can we redirect our energies? And boy, by the end of this, we're back into that high flying place again, as usual. Yep. So good stuff. So thank you very much, Linda. I appreciate it. Thank you especially to our live stream listeners, and especially to our podcast listeners. By the way, if you don't know how to subscribe, real simple, go to elevatoday.net. You'll find instructions there. You can join our community and of growing listenership, and we really appreciate every one of you. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.